Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Maggie Moreland and I am a certified holistic health practitioner with an amazement and fascination about women's health. Being as though I am a female and I have been traversing my own health and wellness journey, I've gotten into some really interesting health and wellness topics through the years. And today I wanted to talk about fad dieting in particular. So I have actually experienced a lot of fad diets, and fad diets are, these diets that become very popular in our society across the board. We see them arise all the time. So it's usually one fad or another fad, whatever's trending is a fad diet, and it's really easy to be influenced by people that are on these fad diets and then start doing it yourself. So I've actually gotten really caught up in the fad diets and the trends and kind of lost sight of my health, and also almost became kind of like identified with that fad diet. So I wanted to talk about all things fad diets today and just share a little bit about my personal experience. So like I said, fad diets are like trending diets, and typically we come to these diets because we want to lose weight or we have an issue with our health that this diet promises to improve. So some of the most popular fad diets are vegan, vegetarian, keto, paleo, carnivore is trending, and to be honest, I have hopped on most of those fad diet bandwagons, and they do seem very appealing, superficially, at first glance they seem very appealing. They're kind of bottomless or just empty promises that are made, like, you're going to lose 15 pounds in the first 2 weeks and your acne is going to disappear and you're going to have amazing energy that's never going to go away. And what I personally saw by experimenting with these fad diets myself is that a lot of these claims are true. A lot of these things do actually happen. But what's not talked about is what happens in the long term. So a good amount of the fad diets that I have experimented with, I did do for quite a long time, not a year, 2 years, nothing like 5 years, but a decent amount of time, at least 6 months, to actually see what the heck is going on with my body. And I saw most of the time you have a lot of really awesome health benefits and health improvements at first, but then the excitement simmers down, you're less, on board with it, and you're more like, I don't know if this is really good for me. Things start popping up. Your health is starting to be negatively affected by this fad diet, and you really start to question it. And that's, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months in, and you're like, okay, maybe this isn't the thing. But it's really easy to get caught in like the binge restriction, fad dieting cycle. So what happens is we decide to diet. We decide, okay, we need to lose weight. We're not healthy. We have acne, gut issues, whatever. We want to improve them. So we go on this diet. And as I just mentioned, this diet works. This diet works. We lose weight. We see our health improve. But then shortly after that, we start to plateau. Our health is mediocre, pretty average, pretty much back to where it was before we started the diet. So then we decide to implement more restriction. We're like, okay, we must not be doing this right. So we need to make changes and we have to do it better. So then we implement more restriction, and then once we implement more restriction, we may start to feel extremely undernourished. We might not know that we're undernourished, but we can see it by the cravings. So cravings are our bodies screaming out that it needs nourishment, that it is starving. When we have cravings, our bodies are actually looking for something. They're actually in need of something. It's a sign. Our bodies are telling us, give me food. I need this. So we have cravings. And with those cravings, what I've noticed is that we tend to binge. I have had, when I've restricted things in the past and not given my body what it needs to thrive, I've had crazy cravings and gone on extreme binges. And with the binge, you know, I would eat like 4 pieces of pizza, or actually go out and spend buku bucks on ice cream and treats, like on a bender, like I was an addict. And it was scary, very scary, because I was restricting myself. So we binge, and then with the binging comes the guilt, the shame, and the weight gain. And it's real. Like, I would hide my binges from like my partner or my family, and it would eat me alive. So not only was I starving myself and my body was literally eating itself, but I was like mentally and emotionally eating myself. And not fun at all. So with the guilt, the shame, and the weight gain, then of course we decide that we need to diet again. So the cycle just continues, and it's not a fun cycle. And it's really easy to get caught up in the fads and get caught up in the idea that in order to lose weight, we need to be calorie deficit. We need to restrict ourselves from this, that, and the other. But the truth is, like, at what cost are we deciding to go on these fad diets? At what cost are we deciding to lose weight? At the cost of our health. Because all these diets are doing is depriving and starving ourselves of the nutrients that we need to thrive. And, you know, there's a lot of people out there that believe if you're giving your body quality food and quality nourishments, and sorry, I meant nutrients, quality nutrients, that your body is going to maintain a healthy weight and possibly even lose weight. If you're healthy, if your metabolism is working properly, if your hormones are balanced, you know, your body is going to intuitively and inherently maintain weight and lose weight if it needs to, or gain weight if it needs to. There's no need to restrict any food categories, like any carbs, any dairy, unless you truly have an allergy or a serious reaction to the food. There's no need to restrict anything from your diet. And like I mentioned in that vicious cycle, is restriction always leads to binging. And I used to deny this, and then I just started seeing it more and more in my own life. And what I've come to realize is there is no restriction without binging. And you can deny it, and you can say that you're more disciplined and try to restrict forever, but it will eventually lead to a binge. And maybe you're different. I'm not telling you how you are, how you're supposed to be. Everybody's different, I know, and that's just my experience, but I've seen in a lot of other women as well that the restrictive diets do lead to binging down the road. Again, because we have these cravings that we actually are in need of nourishment. We need nutrients. We need quality food to build our body and to be healthy. So we have these cravings and we binge. And with all of the restrictive fad diets, because most of the fad diets are extremely restrictive, comes stress. And I've been learning a lot recently about stress, and stress is literally the worst thing that you can do to yourself. So we have environmental stressors, things that we can't really control, like pollution and air quality, water quality, soil quality, things like that we can't really control. But we also have, let me go back a little bit. So we have these stressors, environmental stressors that we can't control, but there are certain stressors that we can control. And my thought on it, looking back, is like, why would I induce more stress on myself or put more stress upon myself when I'm already in a potentially stressful environment? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me at this point, because I understand how stress affects me and what it's actually doing to my body. But by being in a calorie deficit, by not giving yourself enough food, or by restricting certain macronutrients and certain food groups, we are telling our body that, it's a potential famine. Like, we're telling our body that there's not enough food. We're putting ourselves in this starvation state, and our body becomes so stressed out that it actually starts to eat itself. It becomes catabolic. So it starts to break down our muscles, our tissues, our fats. And that's essentially like what you see in the keto and the carnivore realm, because I've dabbled in both of those a little bit. But when you see these really healthy people that say they're fat adapted and using their fat for fuel versus glucose or carbohydrates for fuel, they're literally just eating themselves for energy using gluconeogenesis, which is literally the breakdown of our bodies, our proteins, and turning them into sugar because our body wants to run on sugar. But that's just something that happens when we're understressed, undernourished, and lacking nutrients. We literally are starving and our body eats itself. So again, my question for you, or also for myself, but just in general with Fad Diets, it's like, at what cost are you willing, what cost are you willing to pay to lose weight, or to have that nice body, or to be sculpted, or whatever? Like, what's the cost? Because it looks to me like I would have to put my health on the line, which I have done in the past, for that. And I'm not willing to do that at this point in my life anymore. I'm not willing to do something extremely restrictive and, lose weight and maybe be sculpted and perfect or whatever, but be unhealthy and unhappy and feel like hungry all the time. But I just wanted to share some of my thoughts on Fad Diets, because it's something I've been thinking about a lot, and I have had a lot of experience with Fad Diets, and I really just want to encourage other women that may be stuck in that cycle, that nothing is wrong with you, and the way to end the cycle is not to get into another diet. The way to end the cycle is to properly nourish ourselves and heal our bodies, instead of just putting a Band-Aid on the issue, on our weight, or on the health issues we're having when we go to a diet. Because all a diet is a Band-Aid. A Fad Diet is just a Band-Aid. It will fix the issue temporarily, but not get to the root, which is like hormone and metabolic health. But I just want you to know that you're not alone, and the answer is not another Fad Diet. The answer is seeking help from probably a nutritionist or a health coach on what your body actually needs to thrive, and go a more individualized route than trying to hop on something that might work for some people, might not work for others, might not work for you long term. But yeah, thanks for watching, you guys, and if you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up and share with your friends. See you next time.